listening to the Align and Inspire podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Monique, and in this episode, I want to talk to you about why your last program felt off and what aligned programs get right. And trust me, this is something I have never shared before on the podcast. And when I have shared it with clients and potential clients in the last few weeks, it has blown their minds. They have never heard of it before. And so I wanted to bring it to you, the podcast listener, so that you can apply these ideas to your next program so that it can feel truly aligned and light to deliver and sell as well. So if you've ever launched a program before, you may have started with all this excitement, all this potential, your vision for what you wanted to create. But if you have launched it before, you know how easy it can be to have it feel a little bit off in some way. Maybe you felt scattered in your delivery and you didn't feel like it was as organized and as well run as you wanted it to feel. Maybe it just felt heavy, like it somehow wasn't connecting properly, or it wasn't getting the results that you thought it would, or it was hard to sell, or it just felt really constricting. Or maybe it just didn't feel like the version of you that you are evolving into, and you're ready to create the program that truly feels aligned and right for you. If any of that rang true for you, this is the episode for you, because I want to share a specific tool that I have been using for the last number of years that I've never really shared publicly on the podcast that has made all the difference for me. And when I look back, it really has affected a lot of the choices that I've made in my business. I've been in business for 7 years and I've launched many different things, and why some really worked for me and others didn't. So I remember back in, I think it was maybe 2019, I was working with a coach. And at the time, she was in Australia. And I would go out in my car and I would drive to our local, truly Canadian Tire or Starbucks, one of the two closer to us. And a Canadian Tire, for all my American listeners, is a Canadian company. It's a little bit like Home Depot. But anyway, I would go close to those places to steal their Wi-Fi so that I could take the call to talk to my coach at 6 p.m. because my kids were at home, or my kid at the time was at home. And I knew if I was at home, there was no way I was going to be able to take a call with my coach. So I would go in my car with my laptop, hook into some Wi-Fi, maybe get myself a drink. If I was close to a Starbucks, I don't like taking calls in an actual Starbucks, so I like to be able to hear what people are saying. And I would sit in my car and take my coaching calls. And I remember asking her, like, I have these small ticket, lower ticket offers that I'm running. I created curriculum for teachers at the time. And I said, what could I create that could bring in more money, more consistent revenue? And she said, well, based on your niche, helping teachers, and what I've seen lots of other people have success with, what if you started a membership? And I thought, oh yeah, that's true. A lot of people in my niche run memberships, and very successful memberships. There are like 7-figure businesses built like that. Teachers create curriculum for other teachers and they build these really successful 7-figure businesses. So I thought, oh, that's a great idea. I will launch a membership. So in true Lauren fashion, which I'm going to get to in a moment, I pulled it all together, created my launch very quickly, and had it ready to go by, I think it was August of that year. So like a month or two later, I had my founding members. I launched. I think I had like 35 founding members. I had all my content ready to go. They were really excited. It was really easy for me to sell. And I had it ready to go for back to school season. And I was so excited about it. But somehow, as I started running it, it felt heavier and heavier. And it felt like this weight or this pressure. It wasn't even heaviness. It was like this pressure to always create. And there was always this deadline looming. And at the same time, I didn't really know my clients, and they were really my customers, all that well. And I didn't actually see the impact I was making in their lives because they were just downloading these things that I was creating. And the more time went on, the more it felt like really, really constricting. And at the same time, I wanted to grow my business, but I also wanted to grow my family. So I decided to get pregnant at the same time, which was dumb in retrospect because I do not deal well when I'm pregnant. And a few months in, instead of continuing on the membership, I was so exhausted and I ended up burning it all down. Like I ended up closing it down. I felt awful. I felt like everyone was depending on me. They were all excited for this membership and I couldn't continue delivering it. It felt awful. And that's when a few years later, I started my group coaching program and I loved it. But then I discovered the reason why that program, that membership felt so off for me and why I burned it down. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is you might have a reason that I'm going to tell you more about in this episode as to why some programs will work for some people and won't work for others. So I discovered a framework that reveals your unconscious money patterns. And I realized that knowing these unconscious money patterns can actually massively impact your program and your offer design because there's actually these predictable patterns that these 8 archetypes fall into in your programs and actually in your whole business. But of course, I like to focus on programs. And what I realized is through these archetypes, they're called the Sacred Money Archetypes system by Kendall Summerhawk, is that I created a program that worked for someone else, but did not work for the way that I really was designed to thrive. And I wonder if that's you. I wonder if you've created a program that was built on someone else's model. But I think we can both agree that what worked for someone else won't necessarily work for you. And so I learned the hard way that memberships are not for me. And I'm going to tell you why in a moment. And I'm going to share my archetypes and give you an idea of what yours might be. When you really know the strengths of your sacred money archetype, you're not only going to not create a program that felt restrictive like that one did for me, you're also not going to inevitably or inadvertently sabotage it because you're not going to fall into your money sabotages, or you will maybe catch them sooner, which is truly what's happening for me anyway. So what this personality framework is, it's called the Sacred Money Archetypes, and it's a personality-based framework by Kendall Summerhawk that really reveals your unconscious money patterns. And when you use it to design your program, you can create offers, pricing, delivery that really align with how you are naturally wired, to sell your program, to lead your program, and to grow your program too. And the reason this is true is what Kendall Summerhawk says is how you do money is how you do everything. And even still, like I see it now, I know my clients and all the people I work with, I've been looking at their archetypes, whether or not they knew it for years. But even in my family, I can see my husband's archetype, my mom's archetype, my archetype, even outside the realm of business. I see how it filters into their lives. Because really, the way you do money is your values. It's what you value. It's what's important to you. So if you can really harness how you do money and apply it to your program, you're not only going to create a program that really, really feels like you, it's going to align with your values. It's also going to align with your strengths. So it's going to feel lighter and more aligned to deliver. And it's also actually going to be easier for you to sell it because you can identify your ideal clients, archetypes too. You're going to be able to design a program that is really designed for how they work as well, which I'm going to get into in a future episode. But for now, I want to start to kind of unwrap or kind of help you discover a little bit more about the archetypes and how it could be affecting you in your business. So there are 8, and I want to give you 4 examples in this episode to start kind of giving you an idea of how these work. So the first potential archetype is an accumulator. And an accumulator, what I have noticed my accumulator clients doing is sometimes we end up tweaking and over preparing without actually launching our programs. Or you might launch your program, but you really worry about the perfectionism or feeling like it needs to be just so and really, really structured, and that you can get yourself into overthinking. That's what can happen if you're not aligned and aware of your sabotages, your money sabotages related to your archetypes. But there are strengths for everyone, and we're going to go through those too. So that's the first thing that I noticed is some of my accumulator clients were experiencing those. Rulers are like me, and rulers are very ambitious. Rulers tend to create a lot and want to build these big empires, like massive ambition, and can take on too much at a time. And that can actually lead to less time to market and fewer sales because you've taken on too many projects. The next one that is also part of my top 3, because your top 3 are really what matter, is my maverick. And the maverick side resists any kind of rule and really likes to be innovative and bold. And you can push yourself into creating a program that isn't actually designed for you. And that is what I ended up doing with that membership. I created a program that required me to show up, like I massively over-delivered to, but every single week I was supposed to create this new resource. And it felt so much pressure that I was like, screw this, I'm done. And I burned it down. And if you keep creating programs that are not aligned for you and you're a maverick, you're going to burn it down. And you're not going to have the consistency that you might want. And that's what happened with that membership. I can run a consistent membership style. Like I run signature program design, which some people, you can have 3 months of support with me, but then you can renew. So some people work with me for longer. Like I've had clients who've been working with me since fall, like since September. So it is technically a membership. It doesn't feel like a membership because it's not the same kind of model. So it doesn't feel heavy and like pressure for me to run. So it's about how you design it. And then the last one that I will share in this episode, because I don't want to overwhelm you with all the potentials, are nurturers. And nurturers are the people that might end up over delivering and undercharging, which can feel really exhausting. There are my people who are very nurturing. Oftentimes, they used to be teachers or nurses. They're very giving and kind and really nurturing kind of people. And it's hard for my nurturers to really remember themselves and their own needs, and they can end up burning themselves out, or they don't necessarily develop a sustainable business model because they're giving so much. So that's kind of the sabotages that we can fall into. But when you can recreate an aligned program and really know what your archetype is, it really unlocks things for you. So there are 8. And what I would love for you to know before I share what it looks like to have an aligned program is that these patterns aren't random. They're actually very predictable. And you're really more likely to keep building programs and secretly sabotaging how you scale them or how you grow them if you are not aware of these patterns. Like people have often said to me like, oh, you're such a high achiever. You burn the candle at both ends. You overdo it, aka what my mom tells me. And I know I had a pattern of doing that, but it wasn't until I understood my archetype and realizing, oh my gosh, and this might be you if you're listening, I'm a ruler. I am meant to be outrageously ambitious. I'm meant to really grow. And if I'm not growing my business and I'm too stagnant, I'm not going to be happy. I'm not going to be fulfilled. Like I love to grow and achieve and go after big goals. Like that's who I am. And when I align myself with that and know that I have a tendency to overcommit to things and do too many things at once, I can notice it and then pull it back. Or like my maverick archetype, I'm aware that I have a tendency to create and innovate, which can be really helpful. But if I do it too much, I can, like my ruler and maverick will combine and then I'll just create too much and burn myself out. So I have to watch and really be aware of those sabotages, but now I know them. So when I create my program, I allow for innovation because that's what fuels me. I allow for ambition because those are pieces that really matter to me without them overtaking the program that I run. Does that make sense? And it can even affect like your ideal clients too. But I want to share in this episode what it looks like when you have an aligned program. So if you're an accumulator, an aligned program, the thing that is amazing about accumulators is accumulators are naturally very responsible, very detail-oriented, very responsible with money type of people. They're the kind of people who are always saving for a rainy day. An accumulator, if you're an accumulator, you can create a very thoughtful, a very well-structured, and very deeply trustworthy program when it is in alignment for you. If you are a ruler, you can really thrive with one scalable, structured program that really delivers a clear ROI for you and even for your clients. And you're going to really thrive in that kind of environment or that kind of energy. Nurturers can really create a heart-centered and super generous program that's built to last without burnout. That's very sustainable. When you are in alignment, your program is going to feel sustainable. You're going to feel like you can really give to your clients without it taking from you. And if you are a maverick, you can design very bold and innovative programs that really scale on your own terms, that don't feel constraining, that feel very free and exciting to create. So that's really what's possible when you know your archetype. So I would even love for you to think about, as you're listening to this episode, do you really feel in alignment with the program that you've created? Do you feel like, does it feel light and easy to deliver, or does it feel off in some way? Do you maybe feel scattered because maybe you're an alchemist and you have a lot of ideas? Maybe you have created something that's really not fitting your personality, or does it feel really in alignment for you? Because when you can identify your archetype, that's when you can identify the sabotages. We went over a few of them: the nurturer, the maverick, the accumulator, the ruler, but there's actually 8. And when you know yours, you can really easily identify your sabotages and what makes you really, really unique and what your strengths are, so you can create a program that really feels amazing and beautiful to run. Because that's the amazing thing about being an entrepreneur, right? You can create whatever you want. So you might as well create one that's really designed for you. So that's what I wanted to offer you today. If you are really curious about what your archetype is and you want to learn more about this, I've had some folks ask me if I have a quiz to find that out. And I do not yet. It is in the works because, again, I'm a maverick and I will create it quickly. But until that time, I am offering a very small number of aligned signature program strategy calls. So in this call, if you do want to book one, I will give you a reading. Like, I'll ask you for your Instagram and I'll take a look at your Instagram account and ask you a few questions so I can get a sense of what your top archetypes are, so I can help you identify what those could be. So you have a sense of what your potential real strengths are and your sabotages, and I can show you how it can align to your program, so you can create a program that really, really resonates with you, that feels aligned and easy to run and sell. So if you are interested in booking one of those, they are booking up super fast. I had to open up another day actually to really fit them in this week. So I do have a few more spots when this goes live that will come out next week. If you would like to book one, I have a link in the show notes. You can click to book your aligned signature program strategy call. I would love to get to know you, connect with you, and really get to dig in, because combining the money archetypes with your program design is like the most exciting thing for me. And I would love to help you out with it as well. So if you appreciated this episode, definitely book that aligned signature program strategy call. And I will see you on the next episode of the Align and Inspire podcast.